And that's what I love about these two teams. We know that eStar will put ZS in a position of priority, leave the bottom lane out to dry, but have that late scaling win condition where they can team fight. We know that for V5, you know, a lot about the success of Mole, a lot about how, you know, the bottom lane gets priority from Weiwei. It'll be interesting dynamic to run through because we've already got a Seraphine ban. That's kind of cute. Actually, two kind of cute bans from eStar. So we take away Mole Zoe, which is definitely a must.
I agree. Potentially the best Zoe in the LPL, I'd say.
Yeah.
And we do see a lot of standard bans coming out. The thing that jumps to my attention is the Olaf is left open, the other one being the Kai'Sa. I think I would much prefer to see the Olaf first picked here rather than the Kai'Sa. You still have some options in the AD carry role. We know even though the Xayah is banned, you have things like the Aphelios, or even when you have Y4 on the Rift, the two champions that come to mind are Jhin and Senna. But instead, V5 go for the Renekton. It is signaling that AP jungler for Weiwei.
The jungler for Weiwei has been the Lilia in the past heavily. I know that you referenced the first pick, Renekton here without a Gnar ban. A lot of teams are just willing to take that trade, take that matchup. But of course, big, strong jungler available as well. This should be pretty standard, Lyric.
I agree. Here, you should just go for the Olaf, and I expect that Rat will probably just go for the Kai'Sa. With Xayah being banned out, it is most played champion. He's actually played 14 games of Xayah and Kai'Sa and only 3 on the likes of Vayne and Samira. So eStar are going to keep it very stock and standard. And then looking forward, you already highlighted the Lilia for V5 is a potential champion that we could see come out early on. And then maybe even just looking towards the bottom lane yourself and getting Y4 one of his, you know, Jins or misfortunes to combat that Kai'Sa in the early game.
I also liked it before you talked about the center. Can you see this in the Kai'Sa matchup? Does it work well with the new Kraken Slayer build? I guess he's going to say yes and take it anyway.
Hysterics, I'll be honest, I think this thing can go up against anything in the bot lane right now. I really do like the buffs the champion got on top of, again, the way the build is forming around her is really nice to see with that Kraken Slayer and Rageblade core. Ppgod going for the Rell, so they are going to round out that bot lane matchup, and they're saving jungle for the second phase. One thing we need to keep in mind is we highlighted, hey, they probably would prefer an AP jungler, but you do have Nidalee still open, Talia is there as well, and the Lilia was already something we mentioned.
Weiwei is super versatile in that essence as well. We also have the Graves, even though it's not that great in the LPL, but a lot of AD damage already there for the side of V5, as the Alistar's a pretty usual round out, but we need solo laners for eStar. We need one solo laner and the jungle we already mentioned, so we know the direction for these two teams and expect eStar to look at Weiwei's priorities, Lyric just mentioned.
I want to see where V5 go with bans, more importantly, because, right, the jungle bans are telegraphed. Do you ban out Irma's champion pool? Because Irma has only been going on the Orianna, so I want to see an Orianna ban here. Irma has played it for 9 games. The second most played is Syndra at 3. And I feel like on that Orianna is where he's looked standout. And like we said, the win condition for eStar, in my mind, coming into this, is trying to kind of scale up later into the game and look for these big wombo combos with the shockwave that Irma would provide.
And I also like the spacing it provides as well, right? You know, you give Rat that chance to be that late game AD carry with this Kai'Sa and inject into the backline. So already V5 are getting rid of some of the front line that can help create that spacing. The Gragas has been a very common pick to take up in the top lane these days in the LPL. I'm curious if they do go towards something, maybe like the Camille Lyric if you want to see versatility, but I mean, you're picking yourself into a bad matchup, so wrong of me to say, but V5 in that direction at the very least.
I wouldn't be surprised if V5 do just ban out Ornn here. I think Ornn is a champion we've seen picked up against Renekton quite a bit. ZS has played it this split as well. It gives them a frontliner. They already have enough damage in their jungle and AD carry role, and you expect the control mage to come out as well. So definitely looking at a frontline tank for the likes of ZS.
You get rid of the Galio. That's another pick that Irma was actually hovering around at the start of the split as well. You already mentioned the Ori though, and we've got top lane, we've got mid lane to pick up.
True. We also stole the Gnar.
Yep.
We still the Gnar, so this is, I'd say, a pretty easy lock-in for the side of ZS. You know, it's able to get lane prio in the 1v1 matchup. The Renekton picks a lot more about comboing with your jungle and being able to look for the heavy trading and the kill side of that matchup. Obviously, Gnar's a very easy champion to dive as well once he's in that mini form, so V5 still have a lot of options to play with against that Gnar.
I like as well that we get to wait for Irma's pick, the one that we talked about, being volatile, being part of the setup. V5 have to put all cards on the table. We need that other solo laner. We need to see what Weiwei gets now that he's lost double AP jungle. You have an AP mid laner and part of control from Mole. And this is something we talked about a little bit before, but it has a very low win rate in the LPL, has not been successful.
This was Weiwei's best champion in 2020 summer, though. It's something he's looked very proficient on. I think he's one of the better team-fighting junglers in the LPL on champions along the lines of Graves and Kindred that do play a bit differently than your stock and standard champions, especially when they have Azir going into the mid lane. I think it does make a lot of sense. So now V5 are the team that have heavy scaling components, right? We have the Senna, we have the Azir, we have Graves in our composition, we have a really nice front line, and we have an early pressure point in the Renekton that, you know, can play weak side, can survive on its own against the Gnar, but you also can give some jungle attention up there and the Senna ultimate to provide that kill threat onto ZS.
And we know if that a Renekton asserts his lane dominance early, right, he can really control the waves in the first couple of levels. I do like this Twisted Fate pick, though. You're kind of mitigating part of the pressure and trying to answer V5.
It's definitely going in a different direction, right? So V5 are completely all in on the team fights. They do have some global pressure with the Senna to play towards the top half of the map with the Renekton kind of kill threat that we already spoke about. For eStar, they're going completely away from that. We don't expect to see, I'd say, too much 5v5 team fighting. Gnar is already a very awkward champion to 5v5 team fight with, in my opinion, just playing around that rage bar. Casters have talked about it 100 times.
Yep.
And in the laning phase, Azir should still be able to get pushed up against a Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate's going to wait till he gets to that level 6 point right, throw out a W, throw out a Q, and just look to influence the map. So pick comp for eStar, team fighting for the side of Victory 5.
Super easy to categorize. I always love that. I just want to throw some stats out, and I'm going to take this copyrighted segment. This is not quick stats. This is his stats, also known as Hysterics. I don't know if anyone knows my name, but there is a 12 for 36 win rate on Graves right now. He has won, 25% of his games. So it's a very low rate, but also I want to throw another stat in, Lyric, if you would allow me. 22-9 is the Rell win rate right now, 71%. So we've got a bit of counterbalancing here in this game, and you already talked about the heavy team fighting. If Graves can get to that point, he'll be able to add one more win to the board. V5, that team that we're kind of expecting to have a bit of an advantage here, but remember, in the standings right now, I'm just looking over to my big TV, 3 and 4 for V5, 2 and 5 for eStar. They're at similar positions, and V5 only just above eStar here as we round out towards the LPL break. It's going to be an interesting comp to start us off. It rounds us, moves us into a series later that I know all you know you want to watch. V5 and eStar before the IG and RNG series. It's a good way to kick off the middle of your night as we enter Summoner's Rift. And Lyric, you know there's been a massive Alistar watching over Summoner's Rift. Is he there this time? Who is it?
Yes,
there he is. Old man.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Xingning Kuaila to everyone out there. I am going to attempt a Chinese intro later on for the third series, and we're going to see how I go with that if hopefully I don't butcher anything. We're on to Summoner's Rift, and eStar have started with the invade. We'll come in a little bit late as well, so that's close call. Back just in time here for Y4.
I really like the invade coming out from the side of eStar as well. Olaf, of course, very strong level 1 jungler. Senna and Rell, they don't provide too much at that level 1 point. Twisted Fate as well. You take your W, you can get that point and click stun. Very easy to force Weiwei off his camps, and they also have great vision. So when V5 look to make this late counterattack, eStar gonna know.
Ppgod and Y4 in a different area to Mole and Weiwei. LangX's moved down though, and that's the difference. Even with the vision, they know the top lane is here, so ZS will get a bit of breathing room, while now LangX has to walk back.
That's the thing. I still think ultimately it's a win for eStar overall. Sure, you lost a bit of tempo on your Graves, but you're losing a lot of time for Renekton in topside. ZS going to have a lot of wave control. I'm wondering if LangX did end up losing a minion. Yep, did end up at least losing one. So going to be a bit behind in EXP. ZS going to that level 2 first. And now we're going to see junglers with mirrored clears, where we obviously see ZS has push in the top side, so should be quite easy for H4cker to get that topside scuttle, especially when Twisted Fate provides more in that early river skirmish with the CC, and I'd even say a bit of burst he provides compared to something like an Azir, which is just more about that wave control in mid lane right now.
An absolute nuisance, we talk about the mid 2v2 of Weiwei and Mole. There's no CC there, right? We have smokescreen, I guess you blind your enemies, and we get the slow that comes out of conquering the conquering soldiers. But Mole and Weiwei definitely on the back foot. The scaling advantage you already talked about. eStar, the pick comp. We always want to see this Twisted Fate, his first couple of ultimates and how he can utilize them. We are seeing a level advantage in the bottom lane, but I want to come back to that discussion as we see Ppgod and Y4 with their backs against the turret. Lyric. Level 6, tempo, words that we should use with eStar.
Definitely agree, and we already see that ZS is going to get an early cheater recall up in the top lane from that advantage he was able to get, so going to come back to lane with a bit of an item advantage, and it's going to allow H4cker even more control of that top half of the map. You were talking a bit about the mid 2v2, and sure, early on, we don't expect Mole and Weiwei to be able to find kills onto Irma. You could potentially see a pressure gank come out and them try to force him back, but especially at that level 6 mark, right? We can always see that Shurima shuffle come out, set up for the Graves collateral damage, and you do have enough burst to just outright kill him. And I'm going to say, I'm also surprised that H4cker just went for a full clear. Didn't even want to look for that mid lane scuttle. Irma was backing, but he TP'd right back to lane, and ZS had his TP up the whole time.
Just went back, and I believe there were no deep wards put down, so H4cker going for that full clear means he is a bit ahead in terms of his own jungle, but you're right, not what we expected in terms of the skirmish possibility. We've got Weiwei on this top side for now, actually just keep continuing to clear through his camp. He picked up top side scuttle, while for H4cker, it is about getting that bottom scuttle, but won't be able to do too much with this vision control unless eStars want to dive this bottom lane and set up Rat and Shiauc early, which hasn't been the game plan for eStar that we're talking about. Rat and Shiauc are always left on this little island, and through their laning phase, they get bullied, they get taken down, and they're that late game win condition that has to get back up.
I also think it'll be quite hard to get in a position where Rat and Shiauc... Oh!
Okay, Ignite put down. Good blocking. Ppgod almost goes down, and he's not going to risk getting the Shattering Strike while Weiwei actually goes towards the top side for ZS, swapping lanes to what we expect. And LangX now gets a bit of priority, and look at the wave he's denying.
Well, still, right? This is what we expected when you do have the Renekton against Star matchup. You are going to lose isolated in the 1v1 when it comes to fighting over the waves. You have the range advantage, you have the E to hop away, but when it comes to kill pressure, Renekton a much higher threat than ZS. Of course, V5 are going to put all their eggs in that basket early on, especially at level 6 when the Dawning Shadows come up. We can expect to see that more. But if you look at your mini-map, Mole actually hovering towards the bot side is going to back off, so no more action going to happen, Hysterics. But look at your mini-map. Look at that top lane. It's still going.
LangX is 2 levels ahead. ZS hasn't been able to go near the wave to pick up experience. He now hits level 4, but LangX, I'd be curious to see his EXP bar as he spins to win and picks up the wave himself. He has to be careful. He has to flash away. ZS follows up. He goes overboard. As the stun comes through, the minions help, but ZS gets first blood, and LangX just wasted the advantage.
That's the thing, right? It seems like ZS called his bluff. Oh, that was a bit unfortunate.
Looks like
the hitbox was off by a pixel, but...
Yeah, flashes forward, gold card coming through. They're going to re-engage the fight. Undertow connects, good double smoke screen, but I think eStar will get the kill advantage with this. The flash forward from Shiauc, and Weiwei now getting taken down by Irma. eStar, this early game has become theirs.
And it's off the back of V5's plays, right? We see in top side, ZS called LangX's bluff. LangX was playing that far up in lane that aggressively because Weiwei still hadn't showed on the map. By the time that eStar know that Weiwei's bot side because they're trying to counteract that invade, I'm going to pause as LangX goes in.
Doesn't have Ragnarok. That's the crucial part. Dominus, easy clap. LangX getting some retribution, getting something back on the board after the tragedy that happened before.
And let's be honest, that kill didn't mean too much that we had in top lane earlier because LangX's wave was under turret, right? So it was going to bounce back to him no matter what. But so it is still a bit of a nice kill to get back. He does have plated steel caps now, also a long sword in his inventory, so is going to do quite well in that 1v1 now. And now for V5, I think it's just about slowing it down a little bit. We're going to wait for that 8-minute mark. You're going to have LangX's top lane prio to play around. So we know V5 are going to look top in about 1 minute. The question is, how is Irma going to utilize this destiny? And will he find an opportunity?
Can he counter gank? Can he find an opening in one of these other lanes? I think it's also really important to note that both our top laners have no summoners, and there's no TP to come back if the next person dies. So we could see equalizing factors from ZS or LangX to continue running away with the matchup. Holding a 10 CS lead, a killer piece for both. Double turret plating was picked up in that little proxy time for the Crocodile tops. So LangX definitely has a huge gold advantage at the moment. As Headbutt Pulverize comes through, Weiwei takes a bit of damage, but it's Ppgod who's in danger. The shackles come down and Shiauc locked in place, but good sustain out of the V5 bottom lane, so it won't be too much. But Rat and Shiauc continue to net their advantage.
That's the thing, right? When you look at Kai'Sa Alistar, they just have so much burst in these early combos coming out from both of them. Weiwei and Ppgod are playing on the back foot. It's about to sustain, and Weiwei's here.
V5 used. You wanted to see the first one, Lyric. Gold card comes through onto Y4. He's the target. He flashes behind the turrets. Collateral damage lands. That's good. Attract and repel with the crush down. Getting the knockup, but a double kill over to the cow. Really is Year of the Ox, and Irma stays to die another day. Weiwei picking up that one, and a 2-for-2 trade. I think that's worth for V5.
The one thing is they are obviously losing golden EXP onto Y4, so he is falling further and further behind to where Irma's not really losing anything out despite dying, right? The mid-wave is in a neutral spot. So I actually feel like the dive slightly favors eStar overall when we factor in golden EXP being gained and lost on the map. But still, not a major detriment to either side. Now with the Rift Herald up, that's what the next objective our eyes are on, and both supports are already on the top half of the map.
We've got quite a lot of gold coming from Shiauc from the last play. Made me feel like, you know, it wasn't as good for eStar, but you raised some good points, Luke. That's why I have you here. You know, you got to keep me right. Shiauc moving up. He has the level advantage over Ppgod as well, so no Magnet Storm available, as Weiwei will actually be the one to begin the Herald, considering top has priority too.
And I mean, right, Longxing just ahead. He's already sitting on a Phage and the plated steel caps to where you just look at ZS. Has plated steel caps also sitting on the Ruby Crystal. He went straight down to bot lane. He doesn't have any teleport, so eStar willingly giving this up. Shiauc, okay. Not going to do anything, Hysterics.
But now lane states are really weird, right? With Herald available, with V5 just sending their top lane bot, I mean, eStar have matched, and so we're already swapping lanes at 9 minutes in the game.
And I mean, right, both teams rotating for this Herald play, eStar opting out early. I guess eStar wanting to keep standard lanes when their bottom lane is hard winning from what we've seen in the 2v2. And sure, Longxing might have kill pressure onto ZS when there are other members of V5 hovering around, but in the 1v1, he's still doing quite fine. And as you can see on your minimap, Irma is able to hover over as well. My next question is where V5 will use his Herald. I think it would have been nice if they found an opportunity to use it top just because of how few plates there are. But with Dragon up in 30 seconds, we know we're looking towards that bottom half of the map.
Yeah, we should. Also goes back to Longxing crucially with him in the bottom lanes. So he's already netted a huge advantage from the double turret plating we saw earlier. Could push this Renekton towards his mythic quite early. H4cker getting the scuttle meanwhile, though, means there is vision prio for eStar. And H4cker looking to get busy with Mole. Mole still pushing in onto Irma. This is a range advantage you talked about before. Shifting Sands might have to be used. Where are you going, Mole? A bit of a journey, and there's no gold card available.
It was nice to see the patience from him on not burning the flash. I actually thought he was going to go down from how long he held out on that play, but was able to get away. We do see now that Weiwei's moving towards the mid lane because they know that eStar's mid jungle are recalling. You can expect them to potentially drop the Rift Herald mid now, but they are just going to go back up towards that top side, Hysterics. They're on 3 plates. I think it makes sense to drop Herald towards the top side. A bit confusing, though, that they don't want to opt into this skirmish for Dragon, especially when they had a tempo lead being on the map already.
Especially when eStar already had the first Dragon, and this will put them on 2 if they move straight down. You can see H4cker not budging an inch, so it'll be the trade-off here as Weiwei going to give the gold over to Y4 too. Mole moving up with Ppgod off to the side, clearing out all the vision up in this top side, and with the way the lane's set up, Lyric, this could actually just be an inner turret push as well.
We're trying to see eStar counteract that. Alistar is moving up. I don't expect them to be able to get the turret, so they probably will just back off. But V5 are making a play for all the passive gold on the map, right? They got top turret. They're taking away all of H4cker's topside jungle camp, so those won't be available to him. And for eStar, all they got was a dragon. So in the short term, favorable trade for the side of V5. But, ooh,
that's a flash Ragnarok. Here's Destiny. I think this is a bit overkill. We probably didn't need to do that, but Destiny was cancelled anyway by Longxing, who goes into Dominus. Irma keeps poking him down, but there you go. Ppgod oversteps, and he's punished well by H4cker.
And we're going to see eStar continue this formation, right? They have a pretty good 1-3-1. Gnar will do fine against the Renekton. Twisted Fate as well. Much better time in the side lane compared to the Azir. They can pull people around the map and start looking for those picks that we talked about. It feels like eStar are firmly the ones in control of the state of the map. to where V5 still have power, but V5 have a power in numbers. They need to group up as 5, they need to look for those skirmishes, and that's what we've seen them avoid so far. Instead, again, looking to just pile up the money, Asterix. V5 have been all about the cash money.
Oh, yeah. You already talked about how they want to slow the game pace down. They want to keep it nice and breezy, easy, cover girl kind of style of V5, you know, hitting those 2-3 items. I also want to note that eStar, with a couple of dragons in place, means that they have the opportunity to kind of try and push for an early soul and make it very uncomfortable for V5 when you talk about grouping, when you talk about the scaling advantage. That soul always changes the balance, especially since it's going to be a mountain soul this game.
That it will, and that'll make it extremely hard for either side. Definitely a bit harder if V5 do start stacking these mountains, because again, you look at eStar's comp, and really the only one who has the ability to start shredding tanks is that Kai'Sa pick, so Rat will be that lone carry for the side of eStar, but that's not an unfamiliar position for him.
True. Team fighting is all about Rat. Rat has been the person who's absorbed lane. He's actually had one of the better lanes I've seen this game. You know, he's up 20 CS. He has the Gale Force, Kraken Slayer for Weiwei for context as well. And, you know, Rat's been in a pretty decent position. Weiwei being the center and the Rell lane, just trying to catch up here. Ppgod got caught out before and it gave over some resources. Is now back into Irma. This time the shuffle hits. Irma flashes over. He's got gold card, and I think Mole was expecting Weiwei to be closer.
At the same time, though, right? You just invested in ultimate for a flash timer. That's a completely fine trade. Weiwei, though.
And it could be a kill. There you go. Graves with collateral damage coming in. Good timing of the stopwatch to save Irma's life, and Weiwei will back away after using everything, but that was the game plan from V5, and you're right, the flash for ult still makes it good.
And now we are going to see that V5 are going to have to be the ones to use those recalls, so eStar will be the ones who firmly have control of the map. We can see that now with H4cker getting into the enemy jungle, putting down this vision. And with ZS about to turn Mega, LangX is respecting because he knows that H4cker can be there. No dive is going to come out. And, you know, right now both teams just kind of waiting. eStar happy with this chip damage they're getting on the top side turret, and V5 just continuously waiting for that next play around Dragon, and we'll probably continue to see them invest a bit of attention into, I think, helping out LangX find a few more kills on the ZS.
And I know you were saying that, you know, eStar are in control of the map, and you talked about, you know, how they're actually setting up this early game. I do also want to mention that when you talk about scaling and compositions a lot of the time, when you see early leads or you see competitive leads like this, even at 15 minutes, it does feel good for the scaling team, right? Like, you're keeping pace with gold and you've actually found some earlier advantages than maybe you're expecting to see.
Yeah, it definitely does, but we also need to remember, right, that that would feel even better. I'm going to pause, though, is Shiauc's here.
Always want to try to ask something, isn't it? Mole going to contest, walking away with the Ignite there. I believe he's already used the Shifting Sands and locked up with the Dawning Shadows, flashes away the gold card next, but Ppgod there at the helm. And Weiwei with a great save, a great ultimate, and Mole slithers away.
A good play coming out from eStar. They get the Azir Flash in return for, you know, earlier Irma losing his own. Weiwei might die.
Yeah, Destiny's used. Solo kill from Rat because Weiwei walked a funny direction. All right. Now Dragon could be there.
You're right. I mean, that's just a kind of basic mistake. Not much more to hit on with that one. He saw that Kai'Sa was pushing in mid-wave. They know that Irma has the Destiny available. He hasn't used it in quite a long time. He just gets punished.
It's something you shouldn't see from a pro player, but it definitely happens. So unfortunate to say the least. And, you know, I hinted at it before. The setups here from eStar, considering time to reset and feels like clear away the rest of the camps and get ready for this third Dragon that have moved them to Soul Point and would give V5 a point where they have to fight. H4cker in the mid-wave.
I like the controls coming out as Ppgod.
He's not going to get caught out. Crashes down over the wall. And that was teleport used by Irma. eStar want to clear the wave and move to Dragon.
Oh, Weiwei goes in.
Over the wall, collateral damage. Finds Shiauc. The flash forward from Ppgod, but he can't dismount. He goes to his death. It's now 4 versus 4, but look at where ZS is. Over the wall, the Meganar. Hits onto 3. Stride breaker forward. Empress Defied is late. Rat survives, and ZS comes out of the blue moon to strike on down. Weiwei's one hit away. He'll get autoed to death, and ZS showing up mega.
And that's what we call absolutely perfect timing from him. There's no better situation. Your Meganar, the enemy team is funneled in. They're next to terrain. You're able to jump over the wall, get a very nice ultimate. And honestly, I don't think there could have been any better situation for eStar there. 4v5, right? You want these front-to-back team fights. You want them in very open spaces without these choke points in small terrain. Didn't happen. They funneled in, and again, just luckily ZS was in his Mega. V5 got punished. This is looking like an eStar game so far.
Oh, it has to be after that. I mean, you find the full-blown ace. You get a gold advantage in the game where you wanted to lead. And Weiwei started with a great pick, but Ppgod just wanted to die.
Yeah, he flashed in as we saw Irma pulling out the gold card. But this is what I talked about, right? He was at the end of his Mega. It was the perfect timing. They were right next to terrain for him to land that stun with his ultimate. They all instantly get bursted out as Rat and Irma are in perfect positions to dish out damage. ZS keeps going forward as well. And just a clean wipe, I'm sorry, for the side of eStar.
Hey, you're right. He was a queen in that play, man. That's all right. Like, I'm not going to pretend I understand, you know, what a dinosaur is. I will say as well, I feel like Ppgod was trying to either mount up and get that flip from the auto with the flash burnt to respond or get the crash down, but either way, it hurts them in the end. They go too far forward, and eStar now 3,000 gold up at 18 minutes in the game. They picked up the Mountain Dragon at 3 minutes 30 from the Mountain Soul. You have bounties on 3 members, Lyric, and V5, you know, they want this game to go a hell of a lot slower. They don't want to fight in 3 minutes. It feels like the item advantage is so far there for eStar.
And the thing is, right, we can start seeing the tools of the pick composition come out, where we've already seen them in this 1-3-1 setup, right? They've had Gnar on the bot side, Twisted Fader on top. You have Kai'Sa sitting in mid, very easy time joining in either side lane. You can have Twisted Fate port towards the mid lane. For eStar, they should just be able to keep continuing to push in these side waves, hovering around mid, pushing into the enemy topside jungle and controlling vision. And especially with this Rift Herald, they should very easily be able to turn and drop mid lane turret once they come back from their recalls.
I mean, the second last out of their ability to open up the map, and I think honestly at this point eStar holding control very firmly. You can already see the vision line up towards that top side. It's cutting through the river as to where Baron's spawning, as to where the Herald just was, tracking V5, kind of like a hawk. And as Weiwei moves into the enemy jungle, pings are actually going down. There's a response from eStar, and I'm not sure if Weiwei's actually safe.
This is the thing, right? We're seeing V5 play off of their windows. They know that eStar had a reset timing, which means it's V5's turn to make an aggressive play. They go for the topside vision. They're able to steal away the red buff. But with eStar grouping mid, the Herald play that we expected.
Going to be taken down. You already talked about it, but I think this just gets taken down by the Warriors of eStar. In a turret push now coming up next as H4cker clearing away the Raptors. Mole not here either, and that shove will come through quite firmly. Not take the turret down, but take it close. And eStar with more gold into their back pocket.
I mean, the big problem is we have soul point for eStar, Dragons up in less than 2 minutes. We still haven't seen a true front-to-back 5v5 team fight come through yet. And we said, okay, you have Azir, you have Senna, you have these 2 very strong backliners, you have a good front line in LangX and Ppgod, nice like midliner, this Graves who wants to weave in and out of the fights. You have a ton of burst, a ton of DPS. And they've been playing for those item breakpoints that you've highlighted. And the thing is, this game might have just outpaced V5 because now there's no chance. You have to opt into this next fight. And like you've highlighted, eStar on such strong item breakpoints. Collector coming out from Rats who's going to be executing people. We have the rapid fire cannon for Irma, so his pick potential is so much stronger with that extended range on the gold card.
I also like that double Sterix gauge, right? The front line is super cemented here from eStars as well. And V5, curious if they can actually get through. Liandry's is crucial here as a mythic for Mole. Feels like it will burn away a lot of these tanks. And I also want to add that we have the Zeal new item, Immortal Reminder, picked up for Weiwei. So he at least has some strength as he start grouping up. And here we go, 45 seconds until the big dragon that could lead eStars to a game 1.
I at least like that V5 forced 5 mid. They really can't control their side waves right now. They just need to go for this. Get control of River. They are fine with the side of eStar walking into them. The thing we need to remember is that Irma can always port to the backline, but actually doesn't have Zhonya's and his stopwatch is broken. Yes, so it's all up to Shiauc.
That's the ultimate used by Irma. ZS is going mega. Now on the other side, you also talked about Shiauc with the Dead Mans, and I like that talking point. The engage strong as V5 clearing up the wave. The Sun Turret goes down. Dragon in 10 seconds. V5 are grouping up using LangX at the front of the fight. H4cker ready to go in.
And ZS about to turn Mega, so we need to keep our eyes on him to see if he can find a nice Mega Gnar ultimate. And eStar just going to try and force this one.
I like what ZS is doing here. He doesn't hit the dragon until he knows that the rest of the team are ready to engage. You mentioned Shiauc on the flanking position as 4K, 3K onto the dragon. Auto attack not coming through. They're going to let it reset. eStar being patient as they flash on top of Mold. The gold card connects. Nah, in the wall again. Z-bloody-S. Every time he's hit an ultimate this game, it's been pure magic.
And I love the way that Irma set it up. We talked about the rapid fire cannon and how much pick potential that allows. He finds the flash. Mole is out of position once again. And this should be an easy Baron for the side of eStar.
eStar pick up the fight. They move straight to the Baron. Such a good time when you're watching ZS. And this by far has been his best game of the split. They'll hit the Baron lyric and full 5 members to pick up the buff. This game feels like it goes straight into the too hard basket for V5.
It does. I mean, at this point, right, we have Soul on the side of eStar, and sure, I think V5's comp can still outscale Soul, but with this 7K gold lead, with the Baron, eStar should be able to accelerate. We see the Proto Belt plus Rapid Fire gold card come out onto Mole. It leads to Shiauc with the nice headbutt Pulverize. I love how you highlighted that Mega Gnar ultimate once again from ZS. He's been incredibly on point with those. And from there, they just chain CC well, and they caught V5 with their pants down.
I just love that before the fight you were setting up a lot of Shiauc as well, and this is another thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't listened to Lyric Casting, his eyes go across the map. He knows what's happening, and he saw this Destiny coming. Let's be quite honest. Killer Instinct done. That knock up again, beautiful Ppgod. He's destined to die here. A funny Twisted Fate pun if you're into that kind of thing, as Ppgod taken as well. Empress Divide great in the choke. Rat goes golden though, and Shiauc here to protect his Weiwei. Moving in himself, Rat survives! How does he? With a triple kill on top! Rat, oh, thank you, good sir, the gentleman, as eStar now just have to take down Mole, who walks into his death, with Shiauc forcing away his flash too. Let's run mid with the Baron buff, and eStar say maybe we can just end game 1.
And we see V5 saying, hey, brother, let's just go next right now. And eStar are actually the ones who don't want to look for it. I guess death timers are incredibly short. Onto the likes of Y4 and Ppgod, they are already up. Surprising discipline coming out from eStar.
I just can't believe this is the most disciplined game. Good keyword there again, Lyric. And as well, just the cleanest game I think I've seen them play. After the laning phase, after V5 found advantages top. Their ability to trade and eStar's ability to
Hysterics.
Build up the tempo.
It's time for me to say this V5 is not a good V5.
Oh, okay.
They're not performing Hysterics.
I thought you were going to say eStar might throw it away. I'm like, I don't think so, though. Not this time.
There's no way Hysterics. No, we've said that many times. We've said, and you know, we got this replay. Let's be honest, eStar too far ahead. That ultimate was really cool. I really like the way it cuts eStar off from being able to get on the Azir, but Rat's able to survive. eStar just deal too much damage at this point in the game, and we keep going Hysterics. But, you know, let's see if we can jinx it. Unlosable from eStar. No possible way.
Okay. It's 25 minutes. It's a 10K gold lead. I truly feel like there's no team could throw this.
Absolutely no way. Hysterics never.
Maybe, you know, anyway, we'll move up to the top side. Destiny's being used. Irma, he's going a little bit closer. Rapid fire cannon onto LangX, who's TPing away. Gold card in time? Yes, it will be. Where do you think you're going? And so the rest of the team are following up, and LangX knows he's pretty dead. He'll get taken down by Rat, and there you go. A 45-second death timer with eStar using the rest of their Baron to push in top.
The thing I loved about that Destiny is that was like his Hextech Proto Belt distance away. Like he could have popped the Proto Belt, that would have been the same. The Rocket Belt. True. Sorry, this is you know, season 11.
Hey, close enough. We're gonna do that, and I'm gonna do Iceborne Gauntlet. Honestly, I feel like it's just such a good name. It's been jinxing me for the whole of season 11. As eStar now pushing in, they've actually found the engage onto Mole, getting burst down. He's done. He's doo-doo. As Ppgod walks in as well, but I think this is to his death. eStar can only do things right in this game. The cleanest game I've seen out of eStar all split long. And it comes before the Spring Festival break. They'll walk towards the Nexus. This is an easy clap of a 27-minute win. Just watch them with Nexus turret number 1 onto 2. The knockback, the knockdown. ZS out of the Mega Gnar, but he can do no wrong either. He's had an exceptional game, and eStar have outdone themselves to clean up V5.